Hey everyone, just wanted to come on and show you something I think is really powerful as it relates to gathering resources for your research articles, and that is a program called Zotero. I love Zotero. I've been using it for many years through a few programs that I've matriculated through, and it has been a very solid staple to my research activities and just overall data gathering, researching articles, and then being able to reference those articles for the different writing assignments that I had. And so just want to show you really quickly, if you don't already have a reference manager, I would highly suggest Zotero for you. Zotero is completely free. You can sync it across multiple devices, and it's super helpful and I think easy to use. And so I just want to really show you real quick where to go and download it, and just go to the web, go to zotero.org, click the download. There's a couple things I'm going to reference on this page here. For one, I use a Mac, and so this is why it's presenting this to me in this Mac format, or at least these options from Mac first. It is available on PC as well, or in Windows. So if I click these other versions, there's other versions. There's Windows, there's Linux, and so you can have those versions as well. Zotero 7 is the latest and greatest, so you can utilize that. But just click download, go through the installation process on your machine, whatever flavor of device you have. And then the other thing you want to make sure you do is come right back to zotero.org, go back to download, and you want to install the Chrome web connector if you use Chrome as your web browser, because it's going to be very helpful for us in just a moment. If you use a different browser, and so you can just come here and click the Zotero connections for other browsers and download the one for Firefox or Edge or Safari, and that's all they have. So Chrome, Firefox, Edge, and Safari. So install that as well, and then you'll be good to go. Now, data gathering. You'll see me switch between a couple of screens because this particular blue background for Chrome I use just for all of my personal stuff as I'm going along. But when I'm doing something for the academic institution where I'm enrolled at USC, then I have a different window for that. And so my toolbar looks a little bit different. It's for my classes. It's for the things that I access quite often. And so I also have the Zotero bar, the Zotero web browser plugin. It's up here, so I've moved it into the area, and so I can quickly get to it. And what I mean by that is if I click this extensions button, it's going to show me all of my extensions. I have Zotero pin, so if I unpin it, you'll see it disappear from here. So if I repin it, it will come back, and it will come back at the last position. I like it to be a little bit closer to the front, so I'm just going to click, hold, and drag it to where I want it. I generally have it about right here, and that's how this toolbar is kind of moving along. But here's what's important about this. Once you get your articles, or you're doing a search, let's say in your institution's library. I'm in my institution's library. I'm searching for some articles, and here's a list of articles here. Now, one thing you notice, if you don't already, this particular Zotero button shows up as a folder. The reason that is because there are multiple references on this page that Zotero can quickly clip for you and bring into your article repository inside Zotero. So if over here to the left, you'll see I have Zotero kind of flanked. This is a feature called Stage Manager inside of Mac. It's something I really like. So you may see this. This is live, so you may see this kind of populate as I add articles here. But if I have a list of articles and I want to clip every single one of them to Zotero, I can do my search. The list would come up. I would look for the folder here. If I click this, it's going to bring up a list, and I can select which items I want to add to my library, or I can select them all and then just click OK. And then all of those, you'll see them kind of run through this kind of download list, and they'll populate to Zotero. I generally like to have Well, when I'm doing, I'll go back to this in a moment, but when I set up my Zotero, I set it up with folders that are specific to what I'm doing. So for this particular one, I just have a test folder set up. But if I was doing some other research and I wanted to put these articles in a different folder, I can click this down arrow and then search through my whole folder structure and just put the article wherever I wanted it to be. And so I use a lot of folders because it helps me to organize the thoughts and the information around what I want. So I'm not looking through all the references in my library. I just have one place I can go and get those references. So I'm going to put them here in the test, and I'm just going to hit enter, and then that's going to go away. And if you notice over here to the left, I now have a ton of articles in here. Now, what you want to make sure that you get when you clip an article using the Zotero web browser plugin to clip articles is that it actually picks up a full text version of the article as well. So not only will it have the reference here and you have all of your information, and you can add information in here, change information and whatnot, but the biggest thing is this full text article. There's another video in our repository of videos that shows you how to create annotations from these articles, and it's really important that you have a full text version of the file before you, which enables you to be able to mark them up, create highlights and essentially annotations, and then they'll be brought inside of Zotero. But go to our online repository there in YouTube, and you can see the other video about using Zotero to make annotations. But so that's really important. And so the other thing I was going to say, I just mentioned earlier, I set up inside my library different things for whatever it is I'm doing. So if I'm writing chapter 1 of my dissertation, which I was at one point, so I have a folder for that. Now I'm writing chapter 2, and so I have a folder for that. I actually have this split up a little bit from chapter 2 for like the actual articles I am going to use. They're kind of falling into this folder, and the articles that I'm reading through to see if I'm going to use, I put them into this folder. So kind of my system is, put everything into this folder, read, annotate, and then if there's something that I like, I can click and drag it from here over into another folder, and it will populate there as well. So that's just something you can keep in your mind as well. But I think the hierarchy, although this seems like a lot, you can see other programs, my MBA when I was doing that, and some other programs I've been in, there's a lot of information, or there's a lot to my folder structures, but it's super helpful for keeping all of your references in a single area. And the way you do that is just click on my library up here and right click and say new collection, and just give it a name, new collection. I like to capitalize all of mine. That's just me and how I like to do things. You can do whichever way you want. I'm going to create it in my library because I want it really at the top of my library. But if I wanted to create a subfolder to one of these other folders, maybe I could have done that for this chapter 1 versus having a separate folder for chapter 2 reading stuff, and then chapter 2 stuff that I'm going to use. I could have maybe created a subfolder inside of chapter 2 and then had one for read articles and use articles or something. And so that's maybe something I could have done. But and maybe let's just do that. I'm going to do that real quick. I'm going to put this new collection in too, so you can kind of see how this kind of falls. So if I already had this created, so I added this new collection as a sub collection here, and so I can rename it if I want to, or I can change this one to chapter 2. I'm gonna clip this out. I'm gonna change this to chapter 2, and then I'm gonna change this one to the kind of the context that I'm reading through for one section of chapter 2. So I'm gonna say keep is for like articles I want to keep. So you can do this however you want. So I'm just kind of giving you an example of how you can do this. And so this is super, super powerful, I think. But the key thing is when you're clipping an article, you want to make sure that you get a full text version of the article. Now, you may ask, what happens if you clip it and it doesn't have a full text version? Like this particular one doesn't have a full text. And how do I know it has something underneath it? There's no caret over here to the left of it. See how these have a caret? So I click this, there's something to expand. Typically speaking, if there's a caret, there's generally something to expand, and there's a full text version of the file here. Not all the time is that true, but it most of the times it is. And so for the things that don't have an article, you can actually just add it later. And so I'll show you that real quick. So if this one, it didn't clip, and so what I would do is just grab the title, or I can just go back to the same page I was on if I'm still there. So I in this case, I'm grabbing the title. What is the name of it again? New Media Society. New Media Society Journal. So I'm just going to scroll down through here to see if I see that particular article. New Media. Oh, here it is here. So it looks like is that the same one? It looks like it is. So this is a news article, so it may not have a PDF attached to it. As you can see here, you can read online. But the ones that have this download PDF, those are the ones that you typically can grab and then input. But let's just for sake of doing this, let's say I want to use this article and I want to read it online. I'm going to show you something real quick. If I want to read it online, I can bring up the article. I can access it through my ProQuest. It's going to make me log in, isn't it? Let's not do that. It's going to make me log in. Let's do... How do I want to do this? Maybe I just come on and do a different video for how to add articles. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll do a different video for how to add articles to your Zotero. These are unscripted, by the way. So if I'm just kind of all over the place, it's just things I'm thinking through, and I'm just kind of working through them. Maybe I can do this. Let's see. Because I download quite a bit of articles, and I'll just show you an example. If I've downloaded an article, let's say this one. Let's say I downloaded this article. What I could do inside of Zotero is I could go back to the article that's missing the full text. I can right-click this and say Add Attachment from File. Then I can search through my files and select the article I want, say open, and it will attach it to the actual article. Now, to the source. And so this is not one specifically for this, but I just want to show you this as an example that you can download the article and then just attach it by just right-clicking, add attachment from file, and you can add the article to your reference manager as well. So I'm going to delete this one because it's not a part of it. So I'm just going to say move item to trash. But that's how you do that. So all in, this is just a quick way to clip articles from Zotero or from your reference sources. This works as well as if you use Google Scholar. So let's say I'm going to do a quick search on Google Scholar as well. Let me go back. Let me just grab this name of this article as a search query, and because Google Scholar is going to give me a ton of stuff. I don't want that. Let's just do this. And if I do this and just say search, let me get some more. I'm going to take this because it's a very specific article. So I'm going to take that out just so I can get some more in my search query so you can see this work. So if you are here and you've got all these articles, notice that the Zotero link is a folder. You click that, it's going to bring up all the things here that you can clip and bring out. I can select them all or only select the ones I want and say, okay, where do I want to put them? I'm going to put them in my test folder, and you'll see it kind of work through adding and building that list. And once that's done, then I will go on. Okay, see, and it actually shows you here that it did pull in some of the articles. Now, some of them wasn't available because of whatever reason, but some of the other ones, it actually clipped an article and put along with it. And so that's really cool. Again, if you're missing the article, you can just go search for it a little bit deeper, and wherever your library is at, go get the article and then add it to your reference manager. So I'm going to hit enter on that, and then I'm going to go back to Zotero. As you can see, my list is much longer because I have a whole lot of other articles. And remember, the caret means that there's something to expand, and typically when you expand it, you'll find the full text version of the article here. Now, it may call it full text, it may call it available version via Google Scholar. The point is, this is a PDF that you can then open by double clicking it. You can read it, you can highlight in it, and then that highlighting can allow for you to create annotations later. And if you go back to our online repository inside YouTube, you can see the video of what you can do with those annotations once you make them, and why that's important to have the full text version of these files when you clip them. Hopefully this is helpful. A little bit longer than some of the other videos, but hopefully it's helpful for you as you continue your journey of researching. Have a great day.